This is single-handedly the coolest thing I've ever been handed. And no, it's not the 1 million YouTube plaque. I was really close to throwing it in the river when I got banned. It's the $100 bill that I keep on top of it. When you look closer, you can see on the left, it says much love, and on the right, it's signed by Dave Chappelle. In the basement of a small comedy club in New York City, he wanted to smoke, so I threw a pack of cigarettes on stage, and he gave me this bill and a long message about kindness. I think he was happy I was kind enough to give him the whole pack instead of just one, but I keep it here as a reminder of my motto, to seek truth through funny. Way too hot for this. This picture was 5 years ago. It was the first time I performed stand-up comedy, and it was the most nervous that I've ever been in my entire life to this day. I've been in many scary situations. This, I wasn't even nervous for a second. But this moment, I had to poop 3 times in the club bathroom before I stepped on stage. Because these 4 words define my entire life philosophy. Without this, I have no idea who I'd be. By far the most difficult question I'm asked is, how do I find purpose in life? This is how I found mine. I grew up during the most self-aware period in human history. Traditionally, your environment dictates who you are before you even reach the age of self-discovery. But my generation was the first one where the environment was social media. Previous generations could find themselves tripping LSD at a music festival. But we were the first ones where algorithms told us who we were before maturity even had a chance. The reason I was pooping so much here and this bill was so cool was stand-up comedy was the first outlet I found to teach me to think for myself. Without stand-up comedy, I would have never found what I wanted in life at such an early age. Growing up, my environment was a world of lies. These newly found algorithms allowed us to craft a version of ourselves rather than becoming one. And although most of it is terrible, comedy is still the pursuit of truth. That Arab guy in Family Guy put it perfectly.
What? Can I buy you a cup of coffee?
Oh, yes! It's funny because it's free! Anyone can have.
By ridiculing the aspects of life we have all accepted as normal, you begin to realize just how programmed we are. This is the era where social norms are not established out of necessity, but out of convenience. And not a convenience to the betterment of society, but to prioritize people's feelings. And additionally, my era can be defined by the rise of heightened self-awareness. From ages 3 to 12, I was in a constant state of freaking out. That was until I found George Carlin. Right here, he's getting arrested for using too many swear words at a comedy show. 12-year-old me said, "That's fucking badass." I had never seen someone speak so freely and truly not give a fuck. He attacked the establishment, he went after the government, he roasted traditional religious gatherings. The guy seemed to hate absolutely everything. He was an edgy atheist, but he was honest and really angry. He came off like he was smarter than everyone telling us what to do, and he only had to use jokes to achieve it.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
Before George Carlin, I studied hard for all my exams, and afterwards, I cheated because school was a scam. How would I let these cops in uniforms tell me what to do? Then George Carlin became a little preachy, and I found Louis C.K. Louis was like the more degenerate, Jewish, Mexican, hilarious version. Louis C.K. helped me realize the absurdities of it all. People tweeting their moral stance about climate change on an iPhone made by a Chinese child in a sweatshop. People who believe you should say the N-word instead of just saying
the N-word. That's just white people getting away with saying nigger. That's all that is.
When I was 14 and the third wave of feminism arrived, I found Bill Burr. He was answering the questions that every Western man has. Wait, why should we simply believe all women?
Ladies, can you at least admit that every ass kicking doesn't just fall out of the fucking sky?
When I turned 16, the world got even crazier when the nation of 79 genders attacked. Dave Chappelle was the one who was always able to navigate through the outrage with the right commentary. The dude became one of my heroes when I realized he ditched Hollywood of a $100 million contract because he refused to sell his soul. When the industry offered to buy him out, he said, "Fuck your money, fuck your fame," and left to Africa for 7 years. If Dave Chappelle could refuse to sell his soul for $100 million, then who was I to accept that $20 million gambling deal?
Bitch better have my money.
When I was 20, I found the funniest guy of all time, but he was already dead. His name is Patrice O'Neal. Patrice O'Neal said what every man felt but had no idea how to articulate. He died 10 years before I found him, but I still listen to every single bit of media that's ever posted on the internet of Patrice. But still, one of my favorite moments of his isn't even comedy. It's when he went on national TV to defend a white man who made a joke about a black woman being a nappy-headed hoe.
I know that cracker didn't say nappy-headed hoe.
Patrice O'Neal was fat, and he called himself ugly, but his existence was proof that the most authentic person is who captivates the room. He was the funniest comedian of all time because it wasn't just jokes to him. Comedy was a philosophy. There was something more important going on than just making people laugh. It was about removing all the layers of bullshit, to be perfectly honest. Comedy is how I learned to remove all those layers of bullshit. Growing up feeling like I never fit in, going to school with kids with money who dressed in salmon shorts and Sperry's, with that fakeness that every Asian American has at one point where they try to blend in undercover with white people. But while you're undercover realizing, hey kid, you're also black. Everything felt awkward. I wouldn't walk into school, I would move my right leg and then my left leg individually, right, left. Right. Stand-up comedy was the process of unlearning all that programming, being 6 years old in the grocery store and seeing two gay men kiss and their beards interlocking, me going, ew, no, don't say that, don't think that. Altering your honest feelings just to fit into society. Changing who you are to be a good person. That's not gross. Being taught that saying the word fat is offensive and to say big boned or wide framed instead. The problem is they're still fat. You're not saving them from their inevitable diabetes, you're just protecting their feelings. This was a very effective way to develop my worldview and understand who I really am, but I wouldn't recommend it to people because you might get the Woody Allen problem. No, not the problem of getting married to your adopted Asian daughter, but living in order to talk about living. Woody Allen's stand-up is not my favorite, but his movies are some of the best of all time. And the fact he's able to do that with films almost completely comprised of dialogue is because he's not really in the moment. All his experiences are gonna be written down one day. For example, last month I sent $250,000 in crypto to the wrong address. The money was vanished like that. But I wasn't dreading it for more than 5 seconds before I started thinking, oh, this would be a great movie scene. I had my mouth like this, and I started writing immediately. This worldview is honest, but you will never really live in the moment again. When everything in life becomes material, the only real way to turn that off is with drugs or quitting. Luckily for me, seeking the truth so much led me to finding God again. I had went full circle from the atheist, edgy George Carlin days to somebody with really strong faith. One day, you're just laughing at jokes from George Carlin about how absurd it is that people ever go to war. And slowly you realize that everything ridiculous in this world stems from the fact that people are just disobeying what has been outlined to us by God.